Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's special selection comes at us from Bratislav, The National, Mr. November. This comes off of The National's album called Alligator. That's what we're checking out today, Mr. November. Let's dive in, see what The National is bringing to the table today. Nice steady 4/4 here. Fun little beat on top of that. Chord progression. Interesting production on the cymbal. The center guitar and the right guitar sort of playing off of each other. Guitar in here. Talk about some maximalist writing.
I wish that I believed in fate. I wish I didn't sleep so late. I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders. I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders. I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders. I'm the new blue blood. I'm the great white hope. I'm the new blue blood.
Bass filling in the low ends in the center. It's an interesting reverb to the vocals in that chorus too, kind of presented as see, this is very direct, focused.
I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders.
Oh,
I used to be
yeah, a duality here.
I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders.
So the chorus, minus the center guitar and vocals, and those are going to come back in. Huh. That's an interesting song. I mean, on the surface, it's kind of a straightforward rock track. We have guitars and bass playing chords, nice syncopated driving drum line. The bass gives us root tones, and then we have the melody on top. Structurally, we have verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. There is something very cool happening on that final chorus, though, is that just before it, we have the chorus instruments minus the lead guitar. Then we bring that lead guitar in and do the verse vocals on top of that before giving us our final chorus in full. Very interesting evolution on that final idea, and I like merging bits and pieces of some of the different sections of the song there. That ends up working rather well. And it keeps me on my toes too. I was expecting, remember, I said, okay, and now the guitar and vocals are going to come in here, and then I didn't get the chorus vocals. That kept me on my guard. I like that. But yeah, like I said, it's a rock track here. Not a lot of things that are really going against the conventions of the genre. But it does kind of deviate away from that a little bit. It does some interesting things that I can't say I've heard in a rock song before. It's these little things that elevate the song that make it more interesting than if they weren't present. The first is just going to be the general growth of the song. Despite being a verse, chorus, there is this layering up of ideas across the song. Just right there in that first verse, we had the guitar and the vocals and the bass, and then we had a second guitar come in, and I thought that was kind of neat how we had this call and response thing going on between the center and the left vocals. But then eventually a right vocal, center and right, and then eventually a left vocal came in, a left guitar came in, and we had this 3 guitar idea going on. And what worked really well here too isn't just that we had these 3 guitars and that they were all kind of working together to do their own unique things, but that all of this very neatly built up the energy to take us into the chorus. So it works on a general specific level of just, hey, how do you keep the verse interesting? You layer it up. You slowly add new things over time, but also that growth works within the larger concept of the song and that it allows the verse to become the chorus in a very natural way. Because I've never really heard a chorus like this before. We have, I think, 16th note picking from all 3 guitars. Some of them are just doing chords, some of them are doing things a bit more melodic. It doesn't have the type of fuzz that you would hear in post-rock or shoegaze or black metal when we have constant 16th note playing, and so you really get the abrasiveness of all of the attacks. This would be already quite present with a single guitar, but having 3 guitars all doing their own thing while having this abrasive rhythmic quality really presents an aggressive sound here from the get-go. If no other instrument was present, this would still be an aggressive section. But the drums are so focused on these quick snare runs. There really isn't too much of a groovy drum pattern here. It's a couple of beats of heavy snare accentuation, moving off to a couple of cymbal hits, back to the snares, cymbal hits, snares, and it's just this machine gun fire underneath the song. This constant snare attack with moments of breaks before returning back to the aggression of that. The bass, I would say, is the only thing that's not really aggressive here. We just kind of continue on with that root tone playing that we already saw in the verse. They're primarily here just holding out this low end and filling it out and allowing the song not to feel as lopsided as it kind of still tends to. The song is very, very treble heavy with all the guitars in the upper range, the vocals being in the upper range, and the heavy use of the snare crack and the cymbals. We really don't have a really large bass kick emphasis here or floor tom emphasis here to allow the drums to fill out any of the low end alongside the bass. It's a very lopsided production, which we'll get into that, but I think it's very intentional choice here. So the drums are also leading into this aggressive chorus, and the vocals, which once were very, I want to call them calm, but they're comfortable. The volume, the range in the verse of the vocals are in a very comfortable range. There's not a lot of pressure behind them. It doesn't sound like the vocalist is having to exert a lot of energy to produce these tones. But then we get into the chorus, and he's practically on the verge of yelling, it feels like to me anyways. There's also the double tracking that's going on that's just slightly off, which gives it a bit of a double image feeling. The vocals in the chorus are just a little bit blurry, just a little bit hazy, a little bit wider than you would expect, losing that singularity of the voice. People tend to sing and speak and pretty much everything with a single tone. There's a monophonic stuff going on here. And so to hear that sort of blurriness, that duality going on there, it feels a little off-putting to me anyways, especially coming off of the verse, which retains that singularity. And all of this just comes together to create a very antagonistic, pointed, sharp chorus. I'm not sure how to interpret it yet. I'm curious what the lyrics are going to be on this one. But the shift from gradual growth into tension, anxiety, whatever the chorus is supposed to represent, it's very palpable. And a lot of it comes down to what they're playing, the aggressiveness of it. But I also talked about timbre here, tone of instruments. It being as treble heavy as it is allows everything to sort of pierce through. There is no foundation, there's no floor. The bass is down there. We do have some bass kicks, they're just not very loud. It allows the song to feel like it's going to float away, like it's elevated. It loses some of the grounding that kind of keeps it feeling real in a sense. And so we end up with something that feels extremely heightened. And when we have this already aggressive sound, heightening that only makes it feel even more piercing. I would not be surprised to find some lyrics that are antagonistic or even angry, wanting to make sure that what they are singing is being heard. Because a lot of the music here, as far as I'm concerned, is designed to pierce through any other noise. If you put this song alongside any other song, a lot of the guitar and vocal work here is probably going to cut through what the other song is doing, and you're going to hear it. Not that I think most people anticipate their music to be heard alongside other music, but I just wanted to showcase just how strong and clear all of this higher end work with the type of production they're using and the aggressive attacks, how powerful it is. And so that takes us to the chorus. Sorry, the bridge, which brings the energy down again. We build it back up. And what I find really interesting here is we add the layers. And as soon as it feels like the chorus should kick back in, like I mentioned, they don't. We get that final guitar line, and then the vocals come in with the verse. We still have the aggressive guitars. We still have the snare-focused pattern in the drums. But we don't have the yelling yet. And this actually allows the vocals to be present in that more comfortable range and to be swallowed up by everything else that's happening. It's actually a really good showcasing of why the quasi-yelling kind of works in the chorus, and it's because without it, the vocals just don't have the power to stand up against the snare and guitar work. But I wonder if there's a thematic element to this too, of allowing whatever is lighter or more positive in the verse to be swallowed up by the aggression and to be transformed into the yelling that we get in that final chorus. If that's supposed to represent anything thematically, an evolution of the way someone feels or something like that. Again, I'm not entirely sure about the narrative of this song, how I'm supposed to interpret the various feelings going on in here, but that's how I view that. At least it could have just been a functional idea. Hey, why return straight to the chorus? Let's bring back some of the verse lines first, just to change things up. But it does do a great job of creating this narrative within the music as well, and whether they intended for it or not, I'd like to read it as such. With that said, let's dive into some lyrics on this because we touched on structure, we touched on sound, production, story. Yeah, let's hit some lyrics. Alright, lyrically, this song seems to be about the pressures of life that are put on people. It's kind of a general take. We'll get into a little bit more of a directed approach to it later, but there's a lot of repeated lines in here. As we heard in the song, the lyrics, the vocalist is almost always singing something. However, there really aren't a lot of unique lines in total. So while it is kind of a dense song lyrically, we only really have to talk about 6 or 7 sentences. The verse is a constant repetition of a variety of ideas put in several different orders. But in general, we have there is nothing like it was in my room in my best clothes. Trying to think of you. The English are waiting and I don't know what to do. And those 3 ideas, I think it just said, maybe 4, are placed in various orders, rearranged, but repeated. For instance, the beginning of the verse is, this is nothing like it was in my room in my best clothes. Trying to think of you. This is nothing like it was in my room in my best clothes. The English are waiting and I don't know what to do. In my best clothes. This is when I need you. The English are waiting and I don't know what to do in my best clothes. As you can see, we have those 4 main ideas and they just get organized in different ways. We have somebody who's stressing, though, going in their mind, just cycling between these series of ideas, almost spiraling out of control. Whatever weight is being put upon them, whatever they are feeling about the current situation, it's not like when things were easier. And they really need this other person to help calm them down. And they try to think of them, but they continue to spiral regardless. I don't know who the English are, but this person doesn't know what to do about them regardless. The pre-chorus comes in, says, I'm the new blue blood. I'm the great white hope. Blue blood is like the upper class. Great white hope would just be something to fix the future. Someone to put all of your weight upon in order to change things. And then we have the chorus, I won't fuck us over, I'm Mr. November. And that just over and over and over like a mantra. We get to the bridge, and this is the last set of new ideas. It says, I wish I didn't believe in fate. I wish I didn't sleep so late. I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders. And that's it. That's the whole song. That life used to be easy. It used to be fun. I used to be carried in the arms of cheerleaders. People used to, praise me and want to be around me. Things were easier then, but now I have all of this weight on me, and all I can do is tell myself that I won't screw it up. And that is stressing me out. And that's the whole song. But there is a second layer to this. Mr. November could relate to presidential elections, as they, at least in the US, are held in November. And Matt Berenger of the band, I don't know who he is. Do you have a personnel list here? He's the lyricist and writer. In an interview, he said, we don't think of ourselves as a political band. Our songs aren't protests. But this song was actually written about John Kerry and how uncomfortable it must be to run for president. It must be stressful and annoying to constantly play that role. So that seems to be the authorial intent behind the song. I kind of like the rather vague elements of it, although the surface level read doesn't take into consideration why Mr. November would be the name of the 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 nickname given to our narrator. But other than that one specific piece, it really could be about anybody who has a newfound stress put on their life, who might have responsibilities that's larger than anything they've taken on before. Maybe it's a new role at a job, maybe it's becoming a parent, anything that your responsibilities are now one step higher than they've been, and that stress can get to you, especially if you don't think you have everything it takes to do the task at hand. Which, I mean, usually when you have a new set of responsibilities, there's going to be that part of it. What if I can't do this? So, yeah, I think it's a highly relatable song that ends up being a bit more specific from the creator's perspective, but I think is vague enough to kind of lean into that. And, I had interpreted the intensity of the chorus. Well, I hadn't interpreted it as anything, did I? But this actually makes sense. It's the rising stress. It's the anxiety building up. All of that noise isn't designed for the song to cut through other noise. It's a way of showcasing how the voices within the anxiety that you might have can overwhelm all the positive stuff. Anytime someone says, you got this, or, you've been doing this for years, of course you can do this, and stuff like that, it gets drowned out by the negativity. I think that's what the music's supposed to be representing here. Those are my thoughts. The Nationals' Mr. November. What do you think of this track, though? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Maybe give me your own perspective or interpretation of this track. Please put all that stuff down in the comments section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Oh, I forgot to say like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Anyways, yeah, I'll be back here tomorrow. And until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to. And have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.